Q-1 Mayans and sacrifice energy, producing chaotic energy, and much more. You see, when something dies, it echoes memories of the spiritual world. This is what the Aztecs and the native Indians did during child sacrificing. When a child dies, and this is a little different. So when something dies, it echoes memories of the spiritual world. This is what the Aztecs and the native Indians did during child sacrificing. This is a little different than what others did to appease the gods, such as an infertile land and such. When a sacrificed child dies, windows to the other realms, navigated by shamans in the physical world, are opened. When the child passes away, brief moments or picture flashes are transmitted onto crystals projected by them. Before the wormholes from the future are completely closed to the Mayans' current present. Also, by using secret technology, they were able to keep the windows open for longer than normal periods, which allowed the shamans to access the Akashic records and also travel through time. A large part of what they were doing was to better understand the 2012 event. As a part of being spiritual meant believing and being positive. At first, Quetzalcoatl warned them to stop killing innocent children, as they did not understand what the life and death cycles meant. However, the gods did leave in fear because they, like everyone else, lost faith in the promise that humans were strong enough to survive the 5,000 years of darkness. But in fear, they continued to use the crystal balls or the looking glass to see the future and prepare better survival odds for the future of the human race. Eventually, they constructed a codex, an instrument for the survival of the human race, but paid dearly as negative entities inside their own peoples slaughtered, pillaged, and possessed them. This energy and beings caused war amongst themselves. The South American Empire and child sacrificing is a large part of the reason why their civilization will always suffer the greatest, up and until 2012, unless. So part of the reason why positive aspects of the coming changes and the truth of 2012 is being repressed is for the homage to lost souls condemned into forced purgatory, which are in the thousands. Think about it. If you were brainwashed into believing that you were going to heaven to meet God and left with hell for 5,000 years, how would you feel? And for some souls that did not evolve and are trapped inside the soul body of a child, This means that they are condemned to never experience love, sex, marriage, and respect that comes with age, like in The Child, in the movie An Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. A tormented soul, at times, feels worse than mortal death. So what happens when a soul does not know life and love? It is doomed to express only pain and death. All this contributes to the production of negative energy that mutates into chaotic energy. And as the masses do not know how to convert negative into positive, the world is, in general, left with chaos, because negative energy is combining with primitive thinking, and this produces negative, chaotic, and primitive energy, a very terrible type of sour energy. And getting back to the children, they are left in the spirit world incomplete, which makes them very angry. So now So getting back to the children, they left the spirit world, or they are in the spirit world incomplete, which makes them feel very angry. So now you know where some of that rage energy is coming from. And this is why South America is in such a chaotic and this is why South America is in such a chaotic state, and if it's not addressed, we'll have a lot of serious problems, because that area is going to cause a lot of vortices of negative energy. So when 2012 comes around, it's going to be a hotbed of negative energy. And if we don't start cleaning up the positive energy, it's going to open up portals to other worlds, which are going to allow negative entities to come. And those are not the ones that we're afraid of. It's the primitive ones, the ones that are not developed, the ones that are here to, that have the ability to consume souls. Those ones that we got into war with a couple of times is the reason why we closed the Stargate. We can't have that anymore. I mean, to tell you the truth, our forefathers were willing to accept the losses of 2012, the 2012 paradox, which is really a paradox. It's not the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment is now in 2011. We have to prepare for the coming shift and protect our planet by adopting a shielding technology, borrowing it, and enlightening the human race so that we don't explode from the powers that inhabiting the spiritual body into a physical body does. If you have something that's too powerful, and you have a body that's too primitive, the two won't mesh. One will overtake the other, or the other spirit will end up leaving the body, and you'll be left in a worse position than when you started without spirituality. And because we can reincarnate, that's not a problem. So they're willing to take those losses. But this what's going on right now, if we don't fix what's happening in South America and parts of Mesopotamia, where they did do child sacrificing too, as well, then we're going to have some problems. And now you see why Iraq was Iraq. But it's more than that. It's more complex than what it seems. It's not, oh, Iraq. You have to also remember Sodom and Gomorrah. You have to realize these things. And we're not running out. We're not out of time. We're not in a position of dire straits, but we've reached an apex nexus point in transitional stage of evolution where a lot of us have to make the change with confidence. And in doing such, we have to prepare for the amount of tremendous work that is at hand. But like I explained earlier, in the Mandatory Destinies, or is it the Mandatory Destinies? In Q-1, how longer life, how 2012 will change longer lifespan, longer age span will change marriage. I explained that we'll have those opportunities financially, and by increasing lifespan we'll be able to save more money, and by lowering interest rates we'll be able to focus on spiritual work. And it's like a down payment for all of the corruption that's going on. It's a down payment to say, hey, you know what we did, we had to do, you agreed to do it, we all agreed to do it, and we're doing it because they did it for us. The Mayans did it for us. Their entire civilization got wiped out. Out of all those people, there is not even a handful of enlightened people because they're punished. And they ended up going to jail anyways, all of them. So, I mean, you have to understand that they did this willingly. They did this so that we would survive. And we have to pay them back now. We have to pay them back by bringing balance to places like Mexico and South America. And if we don't do that, we're in big trouble. But then there's also the issue of the Middle East. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to stop fighting each other. And in that way, the primitive energy will stop its kinetic momentum. And in that way, we can actually address and focus and not attack it. You can't attack energy. You have to nullify it. And you have to reverse it. And we're at a state in our evolution where it's hard for us to convert that energy with inversion. If you can invert it, I mean, if we had the gods, all of them here, they could do that for us. But they can't. They sent all of their avatars and their prophets here for us to learn. They put all their eggs in their basket and said, here, this is what we can do for you. We can't do anything more for you. So that's the problem right now. The problem is us and not evolving by bringing all the knowledge together of all the clues hidden in each description of each religion, saying first, the first marker, the first cipher is, wait a second, they all come from, there's a lot of similarities in each religion. And then there's a lot of symbolism in each religion. And then after that, you'll see that there's stories in every religion that make sense and connects. And without doing those things, then we're going to be in big trouble.